Hello all, welcome to Crimes, Lies, and Alibis. I am Nicole, and I know that I've been gone for a little bit. I took a trip back home to spend some time with family, and I'm back at it. So, Lori Vallow was back in court yesterday, and I'm going to first apologize because I know that this video feed is terrible. Unfortunately, it is the only one we have. There was only allowed one video in the courtroom, and I can see that they are trying to get multiple angles, so I'm assuming that's why it's so pixelated the way it is. So I'm sorry, I can't change it. It is what it is, but at least we are in the courtroom and we can hear all of Lori's excuses and demands and all of the other ridiculousness that comes out of this woman. I just want to give the disclaimer that this is for educational purposes and an adult audience only. Viewer discretion is advised. There is a lot of sensitive information that comes out in this trial and why Lori is here in the first place. And the reason I have the picture of JJ and Tylee here, even though she is not on trial for their murders, she has been found guilty of their murders, and I want everyone to remember them. Thankfully, the man that she was supposed to have conspired to have killed is still alive. The assassination attempt has not been, or was not successful. So his trial is next. She's already found guilty for conspiring to have her husband, Charles Vallow. She was found guilty of his murder. It was not self-defense, much to her. She tried to get that overturned. She appealed it, of course, which was, of course, denied. She said that she was not given a fair trial. Asked... I'm sorry, I should be laughing because it's really not funny. But this judge, Justin Boreski, has been more than accommodating to Lori. He has showed her immense kindness despite her being a very obnoxious woman, a very demanding woman, someone who chose to legally represent herself, even though she has zero concept of what the law really is. She is allowed to have legal counsel, but it's up to her to deliver pretty much everything in this trial, or in these two trials, because technically there's two. And so her asking him to recuse himself, he has no reason to recuse himself. He's been more than accommodating, more than fair, has given her a ton of leeway. She probably would not have gotten with another judge, if I'm going to be frank here. She's not up for the death penalty. She's just up for more jail time. She's never going to get out of prison. So all this is about is seeking justice for the victims and holding her accountable. But how do you put more time on forever in prison? Like, she's not getting out. So I don't understand her reasoning for, well, you should recuse yourself. You're not on trial. You're not going to be executed, Lori. You're just getting more time added to your already multiple lifetime sentences. So quiet. But see, again, Lori could just, say, yes, I did it, give me more time. But why would she do that? Because if she does that, then she doesn't get any more attention. She goes back to prison to rot and never be seen by the public eye unless someone happens to want to do an interview with her. But her interviews are a total mess. She is ridiculously annoying, and she doesn't answer questions with, okay. So, Lori... And, I do want to get into this video, so I'm not going to go on this, huge tangent so far about this. But Lori is living in a parallel universe of her own making, okay? She truly and legitimately believes that not only in her faith is she, part of the 144,000 to go on to the promised land, but she thinks that she is the high priestess who was gifted visions and is to lead the 144,000 to the promised land. Like, that's a whole different level of delusion. She is dancing with shadows no one else can see in her reality. I mean, it's almost surprising to me that she is competent enough to stand trial because this woman's nuts. She is nuts. And she has so much audacity. She could charge a mission in her own reality show if she could. Because she believes that, again, she can see visions. She can see the badness in people. That's why Charles had to go. He wasn't Charles anymore. He was Ned. He was beyond saving. He wasn't part of the 144,000. Tylee and JJ, they weren't part of the 144,000 either. So to save them, they needed to die too. This is the delusion that Lori lives in. This is the world that Lori lives in, where she is this high priestess, and she is the judge, jury, and executioner of those people in her life she doesn't find worthy of eternal salvation. I can't put it in any other way other than she's delusional and she's nuts. But to her, this is very real. So she shows up yesterday to court. They're supposed to be getting ready for jury selection, something that they've had to do now for this woman multiple times. They were lucky enough to find jurors that didn't know who she was, because it helps that, you know, she's being tried in a separate state than JJ and Tylee's murders, and a different state than her husband, Chad Vallow, who is sitting on death row, Chad Daybell, who is sitting on trial in Idaho for murdering his wife 3 days before he and Lori got married. Like, these two people together are life destroyers. And if you don't follow Colby Ryan, find his channel. If you somehow found me but haven't found him, follow Colby, because he is the only surviving child of Lori. I mean, she only had 3 children and 2 stepchildren, but he is the only survivor. And I believe firmly that the only reason he survived is because he's an adult and he was married when JJ and Tylee were murdered, but also he distanced himself from his mother. And I really truly believe that that helped save him. But he can tell you all kinds of stuff about his mother. She's nuts. So I'm going to get started with this. I'm sorry if there's commercials. I'm still working on getting ad-free, viewing. But so let's get started on this. Again, I'm sorry it's a horrible feed, but it's all we've got.
All right, this is time set for continuing jury selection, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell. CR 2022-001242. Appearances, please.
Attorney Kay, on behalf of the state and for the record, the victim is in the victim room.
All right. Ms. Daybell?
No, in the courtroom, sorry. Did move.
Lori Daybell for the defense.
All right, are we ready to proceed with jury selection?
No,
Why not?
I'm sick, Your Honor. I've been sick all weekend. I let my team know yesterday I was sick.
Can you please pull the microphone a little closer? I can't hear you very well.
I'm sick. I've been sick.
Have you put in tank orders to get treatment?
Yes.
Are you being housed in the infirmary?
Nope, I'm housed where they put people in quarantine anyway. I'm housed alone. They would not move me from where I am.
Have they tested you for any communicable diseases?
No.
So I want to pause this right here because I am fully aware that you don't have to be around people to get sick. But illness is transmitted usually through germs. She is probably, I get it, she's not in a completely sterile environment, but she is in an environment that's almost exclusively just her. She isn't with other inmates. She isn't around other inmates. The only physical contact she's going to have with people is those preparing her food, which, I mean, I guess she can get sick that way. And I'm not saying that you can't get sick without being exposed to germs, but so sick to the point where she doesn't need the infirmary, but she comes to the courthouse in a wheelchair. Sorry, it's not funny, but it's funny. Like, you're showing up in a wheelchair. You haven't been tested for any communicable diseases or illnesses. So, you have a cold? Well, I'm sure that court goes on for people with colds. It's not that you can't speak. She doesn't have laryngitis to where she has to write everything down because she's so ill that she can't speak. Like, you have a little cold. Suck it up, lady, and drink some water. I mean, put some lemon in your water if that helps a little, soothe your throat. Suck on a lozenge. The cherry flavored ones are really good. You're your own lawyer, so I'm sure you can afford them, right? But like, this woman is crazy.
All right.
You asked me to let my team know. I let them know yesterday at 9 a.m. that I was still very ill.
Sometimes we're in positions where we have to proceed when we feel under the weather.
It's not just under the weather. I'm very ill.
Do you have copies of tank orders you put in for treatment?
Not with me. I put it in on the tablet.
Is the DO able to check whether any tank orders were put in?
I can pull that there, Judge, but I don't know when she put it in.
What's that?
I think it takes about 24 hours.
They haven't even answered my tank order yet. It takes them a long time.
So what symptoms are you having?
I have a terrible headache. I have nausea. I have chills. I have a fever, probably. I haven't been able to keep very much down besides broth and oranges.
Would you be willing to have one of your advisory councils complete the 4-year process, jury selection?
Would that waive my ability to represent myself for the rest of the trial?
No.
Then can I have a moment to discuss with them for a second?
A couple things. I'm your trial judge. My instructions are to complete your second trial. So even if for some reason your sickness worsened and we weren't able to complete this trial and had to declare a mistrial to this trial, even if this case got delayed into June or July or August to be reset, I'd still be your trial judge. Additionally, last time we did jury selection on your first trial, as I recall, you asked between probably about 5 and 10 minutes of follow-up questions of the panel before we sat the jury. I only mention that in the context of not a lot of it is expected of you at this point in the trial. Depending on how you're feeling later, we could talk about whether the opening statements would have to be further bumped to tomorrow. But I would like to keep this trial on track. So if you want a few minutes to talk to your advisory council, we can do that. Is there any?
And part of why he wants to keep this on track, keep in mind, there's been delay after delay after delay. And this is all on purpose. Lori wants this delayed as long as possible because the longer the trial goes on, the more she can stay on this extended field trip she's had. Like, it's June. As it was, she asked for 2 separate trials. The trial for Charles Vallow's murder and this trial. So it was already delayed because he granted. He said, okay, that's fair because one person is dead, one person is not. They're from two different situations, or not situations, but they didn't happen at the same time. They were separate. So he decided that it was okay to separate the two. So instead of having both trials in May, one was in May and one was in June because the courthouse itself was on a recess for I think a week or 10 days or something, to where they weren't. I don't know if there was already something scheduled at that time or if the courthouse was closed. I don't know the details of that, but as it was already delayed because the court was not going to be available for the second trial. Otherwise, it would have been before Memorial Weekend. I believe she's been in Arizona. I think she was extradited in March. So the longer that she can drag this out, the longer she can stay in Arizona before going back to Idaho and whatever life she lived there. I don't know if she's in solitary. I don't know what kind of life that she has in Idaho, but she's not ready to go back because when she goes back, she's out of the spotlight that she craves so much. Like, that's what she wants. She wants the spotlight. This is Lori. This is a woman who rented a house, a specific house that had mirrors all the way around the room that she kept empty so she could watch herself dance. It's like a cheap version of buying a ballet studio. What kind of narcissistic, and again, I'm not a professional. Can't officially diagnose anyone. I don't know if she's been diagnosed with narcissism, but she is like she hits all those markers for narcissistic personality disorder, among many others. But she's so focused on herself. And so everybody, is the center of their own universe. They have their own egos or whatever. But Lori's is next level. She rented a house that had a living room full of mirrors so she could watch her dance. That was from Tylee. That is, and I think Lori had said at one point too, but that's what Tylee said. We didn't have anything in that room because she wanted to dance and have all the mirrors. It's weird.
Anything the state wants to put on the record before we do that?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Do you want to do that back in the tank? All right, we'll be at recess for a few minutes.
All right.
Please be seated. All right, we're back on the record. State of Arizona versus Daybell, CR 2022-001242. The state is present. The defendant is present. Ms. Daybell.
I did discuss with my advisory council. They are not comfortable doing that. I do have a right to represent myself. I'm sorry that I'm sick. I did not plan on getting sick. I did not try to get sick. This isn't anything to do with anything other than the fact that I'm incapable of going forward and doing a good job representing myself. I've been incarcerated for over 5.5 years. I've only ever been sick one other time in the whole time I've been here.
All right. State want to be heard?
Judge, obviously, if the defendant is sick and she does have a right to represent herself, we understand that. The concern is the state does need a date certain when we're starting. I have witnesses that I rescheduled already once to fly in this week, assuming we were starting today. I obviously will need to reschedule them again. I can't keep rescheduling them every single day onto a new flight. So I am not sure how we want to proceed at this time. If we want to give the defendant a couple days, see if this jury is available to extend out to the 25th. I know we had originally talked about that, and begin on Wednesday. I don't know if she will feel better by then, but that's the only suggestion I have at this time, other than starting all over again at another date.
Is there a reason I couldn't proceed with some of the oral voir dire this morning? Because other than introducing herself, she wouldn't be expected to do anything this morning, and that way we can at least get rid of some of the jurors that, for whatever reason, would need to be excused.
Judge, my concern is she's in a wheelchair now.
Well, I would probably ask to have her sit in a regular seat and not be in a wheelchair that says MCSO across the back of it.
No, I am just not capable of going or even sitting here. I need to be laying down. I need to be getting better so that I can go forward and actually represent myself. I hope that I feel better this week and we can go forward. I can't give you any promises. I can't control any of this.
All right, I'll take the state's suggestion and try to salvage this jury in this trial. I'm sure these jurors are going to be none too happy coming down today again for a dry run.
Judge, I do have one other. I don't know if we're able to, and I understand this is Judge Kemp's courtroom. If we can start earlier for the rest of the week and next week at 10, maybe take an hour for lunch. It's just ways to try to.
Yeah, I would be willing to do that. So for Friday, I have nothing else, and Judge Kemp has nothing. We could start at 9 on Friday.
And I know we have at least one juror that we will have to excuse who was going camping on
Yeah,
Friday.
juror number 4, I think.
Yeah.
My schedule, we could start at 10 on Wednesday. Let me check Judge Kemp's courtroom schedule. I think he looks like he'll be done by 9:30 at the latest, so I think we'd be safe on telling the jurors to come back 10 a.m. Wednesday, get the jury picked, opening statements done. All right, I think I do need to bring the jurors in to tell them something, so can we have Ms. Daybell sit in a regular chair and not and bring the wheelchair out into the hallway?
Yeah, try and take some.
I don't think that I can even sit here. I need to go lay down. I don't understand.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting again, but this is her privilege showing right here. They've given her, I don't even know how many opportunities, to be treated fairly. And she doesn't care that they keep having to reschedule people around her. Like, this is ridiculous. She shows up in a wheelchair. I need to go lay down. Blah, 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 blah. You don't think that people of courts all the time, she doesn't think any of these jurors might not be feeling great? This is the thing. Like, I guess she doesn't have to care because she's the one whose life is on the line. Not really. Again, she's not going up for death row. This is just adding more time to her. Whatever. He's already giving her another couple of days, which, meaning, I'm assuming when he says Wednesday, he means tomorrow. So she gets this delay that she's asking for because she's just so ill she can't continue, despite not needing infirmary care and not being tested for anything like COVID. So she has a cold. That's what it boils down to. She's wanting to waste everyone's time, waste the court's time, waste resources, waste taxpayers' money, continuously, getting her way because she has a cold. That's Lori. So he's saying, hey, can we at least give the courtesy of telling the jury why we're wasting their time again and why we're still not, moving forward again because, giving them some kind of a reason. And, hey, let's treat her fairly by getting her out of the wheelchair that says that it's property of the prison, so they don't know that she's been in jail. And give her that, instead they're going to have that visual that, oh, she's already incarcerated. So she's already guilty of something. They're eliminating that, and she's still whiny. She's still so whiny. Oh my God. Shut up, Lori.
I don't think, last time you said it was going to be 15 minutes, it was an hour and a half where I was sitting here trying not to throw up on TV in front of the jurors.
Which maybe we could, all of us leave and they could come in and just speak with you.
That's fine.
I've had that happen before where none of the parties are here and the court just advises that we're unable to proceed
Your Honor,
today.
I don't know about you rescheduling this for Wednesday. It puts a lot of pressure on me to be better and ready for Wednesday, and if I'm not, I don't like to disappoint people. I don't like putting people out of their way, all the jurors and all these things, and all the pressure is on me. That's not going to help me get any better anytime soon.
What is your suggestion?
I don't know, but I'm saying so tomorrow if I'm not better and I let my team know, are you going to drag me in here like you did today with the team that came to get me? Do you know they felt so sorry for me to have to get dragged out of bed to be here?
Yeah, the answer is yes. I probably will order that you be here Wednesday. We'll take tomorrow off. Because I need to confirm how you're feeling. You because you represent yourself, no one else can waive your own appearance.
You're welcome to come over to the jail and come to my cell and see how I'm doing in there.
All right, I'll take a pass on that. All right, with the consent of the parties, then we'll have the parties exit. I'm going to tell the jury we're going to try to get this done on Wednesday. Obviously, that depends on whether the defendant's feeling better or not. We will, I'll tell them to be here ready to go at 10 a.m. Wednesday unless they hear something else. So I'll go ahead and ask the parties to exit. We'll keep the FTR running for the
Oh my God. You're welcome to come to the jail and see me to see if I'm still sick. It's not funny. It's funny. It's not funny. I'll take a pass on that. Like, this guy. Like, wonder if I can pull up, like, something where it's, okay. East Idaho News. Let's pull up this video.
This is Pod 5.
Sorry for the ad.
First, fully immersive,
But like,
intelligent, adaptive.
you can see.
Round
This
two
is what I
of
mean.
Lori's Arizona case.
This is what I mean. I'm just gonna get.
Obviously, the personal bias that you're showing right now and that you've shown on the FTR several times during the trial.
Okay, well, I don't have any personal bias. All right?
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay, I paused it where his eyes are open. So, this guy is. I don't even know how better to put this in. He has the patience of a saint. Like, this guy has put up with months of Lori's bullcrap and is still trying to keep it peachy here to the best of my abilities, because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble by YouTube. But unending amounts of patience from this guy. Unending. And it's just amazing to me that she's still trying to push this envelope. I mean, it's not really, shouldn't be amazing. I shouldn't be surprised. This is Lori. You know, this is the person who's asking this judge to recuse himself because she thinks that he's treated her so unfairly. Lori's stomping her foot. I'm not getting the adequate treatment that I should get. Everybody should bow to the Queen Lori. Oh, I'm sorry, Priestess Lori. My bad. She is the high priestess in her religion who has been gifted visions and is to lead her people to the promised land, or whatever it is in the LDS faith. I don't even know if she's LDS anymore, really, because she's like created her own sort of religion here. Because even the LDS people are like, we're not claiming this woman. She's batshit crazy. But it's just so funny to me that she's like, oh, you should recuse yourself. Oh, I need more time. Oh, I am so sick. I'm reminded of, you know, Mean Girls when she's like, I'm sick. Like, that's how I feel she is here. Oh, they felt so bad for me because they had to pull me out of bed for court. Okay, again, she hasn't needed the infirmary. She hasn't been tested for any illnesses. She hasn't been around anybody. She's been in solitary, basically, and given food. That's the extent of her, you know, germ exposure. But yet, she's just so ill she can't continue. And then he's like, well, I'm going to give you 2 days. It's a cold. Drink some water, lady. Like, that's the best way to combat a cold is get some rest, drink some water. They've been giving her broth, apparently, because she's just so ill she needs a wheelchair and can barely sit for, you know, whatever. And then says, well, you're welcome to come to the, you know, because she's her own lawyer. She doesn't have anyone representing her that can be like, hey, she's really sick, we can't proceed today. You know, I don't know if I'll be better in 2 days. I've been sick all weekend. Well, it's Tuesday, so if you start feeling ill on Friday or Saturday, by Wednesday you should be on the up. You know, it's cold. It's not bronchitis, it's not anything severe, it's a cold. You have a common cold. Suck it up, lady. I've only been sick 2 times since in the last 5 years. Oh, well, if you've only been sick twice in the last 5 years, then this illness is very coincidental, because it just so happens on the cusp of having jurors there for jury selection. And then she just invites the judge, well, you know, you can come visit me in the jail tomorrow to see if I'm better. And he's like, I think I'll pass. Because, you know, he doesn't have anything better to do with his life than, you know, cater to Lori Vallow, Daybell, the woman who has been convicted of killing her children and conspiring to commit murder of her husband so she could marry another guy who killed his wife. Like, I can't imagine why he just seems less than thrilled to go visit her in prison to see if she's better. And again, you know, she doesn't have to care about other people, but, you know, she's putting the courts out for this rigmarole because she's buying herself more time. And she thought she could buy herself a week, maybe 2. Because, again, her whole goal and motivation has just been to drag this out as long as possible because she does not want to go back to prison But I'm going to cut this video short. I'll be back with probably something else. So thank you and stay tuned for more.